Let's do it up. Beat it.
Now, it's Eric Nagel.
It's Eric Nagel. My name is Eric Nagel, and my buddy Giddles is right over there looking at me, oddly.
Howdy.
And we're talking about New York Comic Con 2014, which we had the privilege of being there, talking to a bunch of different people. And on this particular day that we were there at New York Comic Con, we got a media alert from Dark Horse Comics that they were just announcing a new crossover series that's coming out in 2015. And when I saw the graphic, I said, this is so beyond ridiculous. We need to go over there and talk to anybody about this.
Yeah.
And
it's so crazy.
thanks to our buddy, Ob Driver, over there at Dark Horse Comics. He got us in touch with Alex DiCampi. She does the Grindhouse series over there, but she's also the one who penned the storyline for The Predator Meets Archie. And so we go over to Dark Horse and we talk to Alex, and she'll explain what this is all about.
It's fantastic.
Here down at Dark Horse Comics, and we're speaking with writer Alex DiCampi about the new press release we just saw today for probably one of the most unusual pairings and crossovers in comic history, Predator and the Archies. What can you tell us about this?
It's a dream project. I take a wonderful, gentle, beloved teen series and kill them slowly and horribly, one by one. And, you know, Predator was one of my favorite movies growing up. Anyone who doesn't love Predator, frankly, can get off my planet. If you haven't seen the original Predator, go just do it. It's a wonderful, like, very scary, a lot of fun action film, and it's a dream project.
So how does one get the permission to do that?
They just came to me and they said, fancy writing Archie versus Predator? And I'm like, to bear shit in the woods. And then I got on, we had a conference call between me, my editors at Dark Horse, and the editors at Archie, who I didn't know, but I'd heard really good things about. And the Archie guys were incredibly supportive. They were even like, well, when are we going to kill off this character? And I'm like, you really want to kill off that character? And they're like, oh, yeah. The art is going to be by Fernando Ruiz, who's one of the great classic Archie artists. He has this really beautiful, light, like, it looks like a really easy line, but, like, let me tell you, you have to work really hard to make a line look that easy. And so the series overall is going to feel a bit more like Final Destination than it's going to feel like the Archie Horrorverse stuff, because you're not going to open it up and immediately think, oh, this is going to be a dark book. It's going to be really bright and shiny, and the kids are going to look cute and perky, and then we're going to skin them.
Are we going to see any other possible characters' spines and skulls from other series in this? Like, maybe the Predator has already killed, or is it just going to be straight Archie, like, trophies?
I think he's saying, is there going to be any Easter eggs in this comic?
Yeah, basically.
Oh yes, but mostly right now I'm trying to get Predator Easter eggs in there. I'm trying to get as many like Easter eggs and fun bits from the original film into the book as I possibly can.
This is coming out now, April 2015.
Yes, I've done the full outline. It's going through around everybody for approvals. The only thing that makes me sort of sad is that I want to put Archie in a Gundam suit to fight Predator, because what are the best things in life, Conan? Like, let's take all the really awesome things and put them in one comic. In fact, let's just cram them into one issue.
Thank you so much, Alex DiCampi. We look forward to it coming out of Dark Horse Comics April in 2015. And if you can, I'm sure you're going to be doing some signings and stuff. I'm going to get a copy, and I hope you would sign it.
Thanks a lot. If people can't wait, they should check out my second season of my Grindhouse series. The first trade from the first season is out now. And the second season starts on November 17th with a 2-part Christmas horror story.
Where are you on Twitter?
Alex DiCampi. Like, pretty much on all social media, I am ALEXDECAMPI.
Thank you very much.
It's Eric Nagel at New York Comic Con. New York Comic Con.
Back on It's Eric Nagel, and let's move on to Constantine from NBC. Are you familiar with Constantine?
A little bit.
Okay. Constantine, for those of you who don't know, is part of a comic book series called Hellblazer. And this is their adaptation for television. A couple of years ago, they did it with Keanu Reeves for a movie. Now it's here on television with Matt Ryan. We get a chance to talk to him. He's the lead. He plays John Constantine. And he's pretty much an exorcist who is trying to do the right thing, but winds up doing the wrong thing, and is still trying to repay his debt and fix things. And very tortured, a lot of demons and supernatural stuff. It's pretty cool. It's going to be on Friday nights, I think 10 p.m. on NBC.
Yeah.
So here it is, Matt Ryan from Constantine.
My name is John Constantine. I'm the one who steps from the shadows, all trench coat and arrogance. I'll drive your demons away, kick them in the bollocks and spit on them when they're down, leaving only a nod and a wink and a wisecrack. I'll walk my path alone, because let's be honest, who'd be crazy enough to walk it with me?
I'm here with Matt Ryan, the star of Constantine, which debuts on October 24th on NBC. It's great to finally meet you, man.
Oh, thanks, man. You too.
Constantine is an incredible role to land. How familiar were you with Constantine and Hellblazer before getting this role?
I wasn't really familiar with the comic books, to be honest with you. I'd seen the movie, but didn't really associate it with the comic books after I started reading them. I had a really good friend of mine who it's his favorite character, it's his favorite comic book series, and he'd been telling me about it for years and years, so it's always been in the background. And then when I got the role, he was like, right, okay, I need to sit you down and I need to tell you about this character. And he kind of like took me through it all. So it was great because I had a real fan kind of taking me through it and telling me about it, you know.
Well, you have him filling you in on everything. Did you then get a chance to maybe read any of the books?
I started reading the comics. I jumped around a bunch. You know, I read the Newcastle stuff, the Swamp Thing when he was first introduced, and the Dangerous Habits, which is still my favorite to this day. And there's still a lot more to get through, man. I'm trying, you know, but with the busy schedule we have, you know, it's going to be a long time.
I saw the first episode, and you definitely fit perfectly into the role here. One thing I did notice is that when they were talking about his past, they said, you know, you're an exorcist, but in the comics, he's really sort of a troubled, failed magician that went into the occult and everything like that. They seem to leave the magician part out. Was there any changing in the story for that, or is it just unnecessary?
No, I think that, you know, that's all there. I think that maybe just in that moment he says, you know, he's an exorcist, he's a demonologist, he's a master of the dark arts, he's a magician, he's all those things. All those things are still there.
The other thing too that I was glad they addressed in the first episode was about his family. And is there something maybe in the first season, will they do some flashbacks where we get to see John's family?
I don't know. That's something you'd have to ask the writers. I'd hope so, man. That's some really cool stuff. But you know, it's something that's always with John, and it's something that drives him. So you know, it's something that can come out at any time.
Now, there was an incredible reception to it at San Diego Comic-Con with all the Constantine stuff. It hasn't even aired yet, but the promos are going, and there's a lot of buzz built about it. Are you starting to notice people recognizing you as you're out in public?
To be honest with you, no. You know, I've just been, you know, going from my apartment to work and from work to my apartment, so I haven't been out much. It's actually really nice to be here at New York Comic Con because I feel like I've been let out, you know.
Yeah. You were also in the Assassin's Creed video game series. How awesome is that?
That was awesome, man. That was so much fun to do there, and that whole franchise is amazing. The team behind that series is amazing as well.
Are you a big gamer?
I'm not a huge gamer, but I do play. I like playing Assassin's Creed. It's so funny, like when you're actually playing with yourself. Do you know what I mean? And a bunch of my mates were like, "Can you keep the noise down?" And I was like, "It's not me, but it is me, but it's not really me," you know. And because there's my voice on the screen, and that's a fantastic game, and I still haven't finished it yet because it takes a lot of time, but it's a great game.
When you were getting ready to start doing everything for Constantine, table reads, reading the scripts, all that stuff, did they explain you not really being too familiar with the comic book series? Are they sticking pretty much close to the comic book series, or are they just using elements as a foundation and going in a different direction?
We're trying to stay true to the kind of the DNA of the comics and the comic book character. We're actually going to be pulling storylines directly out of the Hellblazer series, and then, you know, doing some of our own as well. So it's going to be a kind of an accumulation of the both. But you know, the one thing that's really important that David and Daniel have stressed from the beginning, and which I think is great for the fans, you know, the old and new fans, is that we're trying to stay true to the DNA of it, and obviously transposing this character and these stories from a comic book to the TV screen. You know, it's a different medium, so we have to kind of translate it in a way, and we're doing that. But yeah, it's staying true to the core DNA of the characters in the books.
Constantine debuts on NBC on October 24th. So my last question to you is: when Constantine has a full run, becomes a huge success and a smash for NBC, are you going to push for your own action figure?
Man, that would be awesome. I think you should push for it, man. That would be awesome. I really want my own action figure. That'd be cool.
Matt, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, my friend. Have a good one.
It's Eric Nagel at New York Comic Con.
Back here on It's Eric Nagel. My name is Eric Nagel, and that's my buddy Giddles over there. And we're doing all this stuff from New York Comic Con 2014. A lot of great interviews that we've plowed through so far, and we got to keep moving because we are running out of time. It's only an hour show. And we move on to legendary voice actor Billy West. Now, I ran into Billy on the floor. I didn't realize he was at the con, and I freaked out when I saw him. Nobody else knew, at least the younger people didn't recognize him. Maybe most people wouldn't recognize him because you'd only know him by his voice, not by his looks or visual projects. He's the guy behind the voice of the M&M character, the Cheerios Bee,
Professor Farnsworth, Fry, Futurama,
Zoidberg, Doug.
Ren and Stimpy.
If you watch Doug on Nickelodeon and ABC, Ren and Stimpy, right? Does a lot of the Looney Tune stuff, Bugs and Elmer Fudd. Pretty much, if you know who Mel Blanc is, Mel Blanc was a guy who could do almost every voice and did almost every voice. And Billy West is now the modern Mel Blanc here. And he did a lot of time on Howard Show. If you're a big radio fan in the late 80s, did a lot of voices for Howard Show. And when I saw him, I freaked out on many levels because he's the voice behind a lot of shows that I love. I used to listen to him on Howard when I was a kid. And so this is just all around exciting for myself.
And I'm very jealous because I was not walking around with you when you ran into Billy West. What was I doing? I was at Comic-Con buying Mad Libs. At Comic-Con. That was my graphic novel, Mad Libs. I have to fill in the words. It's not even finished.
Reading is hard.
It's hard.
Writing's even worse.
Yeah, and then Eric comes back, oh, I met Billy West. And I'm like, great, give me a noun.
Here's the legendary Billy West. So I'm walking around the Comic-Con floor here at New York Comic Con 2014 in New York City, and I bump into one of the most infamous names in animation and even in our business of radio, Billy West.
Hey, I wouldn't say that, but I'm glad you did.
I grew up listening to you.
Well, you look fine to me. I mean, you look like you grew up nice and everything.
I grew up a well-adjusted young man thanks to the power of television.
Oh, that's cool.
Hey, Ren, will you button me? Will you shut up, you fool? Yes, I shall kill you.
Man, all this constant exposure to radiation is making me thirsty.
I don't want to live on this planet anymore.
You need an autograph? Why not Zoidberg? She's a beautiful ship, all right. I'm gonna fly her brains out.
Doing that voice, did they ever contact you when Phil Hartman died to maybe take over for Troy McClure? Or did they just want to use it as sort of like an homage to him for Futurama?
Well, he was originally supposed to do that. I knew Phil Hartman. He was very cool. He called me up when I still lived in New York, and he called me up at home. I don't know how he got my number. He wanted to say he was a fan, and I was like, whoa, I kind of know who you are too, you know? And he was nothing but generous. He said, you got to move out here, man. He said, all the work for somebody like you is out here. And I said, I don't know, I'm thinking about it, and which I did, I moved. And we did an M&M's commercial together. He played this not so cool candy bar named Chalky Bar. And of course he melts at poolside. And that might be the one where Tia Carrera takes a bite out of my head. You know, but I was laying in bed with my wife, and we couldn't sleep for some reason. And she was saying, how can you stand to be out here with all these people? Everybody wants a piece of you and all that. And she says, aren't there any good people? And I says, yeah, you know who's great? Phil Hartman. That was the night he got murdered.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I miss him. But I mean, when I did talk to him all the time, we talked about our love of big dumb announcers. You know, coming to the Worcester Centrum. You know, they filled the air with words because they were so insecure that they were afraid to leave a space. And we love those big dumb announcers from the old days. So what I did was something that I would have done for Zapp Brannigan, you know, with that big dumb announcer voice. But it was also very reminiscent of Phil Hartman.
I've never known you not to be working. You do so many projects. What are you working on right now?
I just did 52 episodes for Disney. It's a show called the S02. It's a kids show. And it's playing on 3 different Disney networks. And it's a big ratings one. I mean, already it's their new hit show. But I did Bashful, and because it's a new version of Seven Dwarves. The Seven Dwarves never made anybody laugh. I'm sorry, ever. I never met anybody that went, oh yeah, high comedy. So they wanted me to do Bashful, and I said, what do you got, rocks in your head? Why are you asking me to do? All he does is peek out from stuff and blush. And I wanted to rock it, so I gave him a high-pitched, squeaky kind of voice, and he loves the Queen. He'll do anything to save the Queen. And so he goes,
We have to save Queen Delightful.
and all of a sudden, I mean now! Like that, and they loved it. The higher-ups at Disney, I could have, that was taking a huge chance. But I had to do something. I had to bring something to the table, to the character, otherwise it wouldn't rock.
You've had amazing opportunities to do so many different projects and have been very successful at it. With all this time and the success that you've had, is there some projects that you're looking at that one day that maybe you want to do that just hasn't even been pitched yet? Or is there something that you want to come up that's completely unique?
Well, I've always been an objective fulfillment machine for somebody else. I've been doing that. I will continue to do it until they tell me don't come in anymore. But I developed, created a show with my partner from Ren and Stimpy days, and it's a kids show, preschool show, and I'm going to talk to everybody next week. We have the sizzle reel for it, and everybody loves what we're doing. So you never know. I'd like to get like a deal with somebody like on the internet.
Have you ever had any opportunities to work with Disney before this new series that you were doing?
Oh, with Disney? Not a whole lot. I just wasn't their kind of guy or something, you know what I mean?
Well, I don't get that, because you've done everything from, the Warner Brothers world to Nickelodeon to Fox. Why wouldn't Disney want to get one of the hottest voice talents of our century?
I don't know. Maybe they're scared of me or something. I'm a total gentleman. I'm very single. And, I go to Europe and I meet girls.
Billy, I won't take up any more of your time. It's such an honor to run into you, and there's so many of your projects that I love, especially Futurama. Thank you for everything you've done, man.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you.
Good news, everyone. Bad news. You're listening to Eric Nagel. Poor people.
Well, that's it for the Comic-Con special here on It's Eric Nagel. I have been Eric Nagel. E-Rock Radio on Twitter and Instagram. Thank you, Giddles, so much for sitting in for Matt. Matt was running his own booth and had other things going during the Comic-Con, so we didn't get a chance to really use Matt for a lot of this stuff. So Brian was cool enough to, step in and help out and contribute to some of these interviews here, and pretty much just had a good time getting everything he could for free at Comic-Con.
Yeah, it was a really awesome time. Thanks so much for having me. I had a blast.
Thanks to everybody we got a chance to talk to. Thanks to Fox and Disney and NBC and Dark Horse Comics and
just everyone, like all the celebrities we met. Everyone was so chill. It was such a great time.
Right, everybody that hooked us up, and couldn't have been nicer. We had a great time. I'd love to do this again next year. Hell, I'd like to try to do San Diego if we could.
Let's do it.
If not, then we'll do New York 2015.
I'll start working on the Transformers costume that turns into a plane, and I could fly us out there on my back.
That works. I'm sure SiriusXM would love that, because then they don't have to expense it. So we'll be back next week for another edition of It's Eric Nagel. Until next time, be seeing ya.
Later.
And that's all the time we have. Follow Eric on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at eRock Radio. The show should be back next week. Maybe in 2 weeks. Who the hell knows around here anymore?